What's going on all you GBA type people? It's your boy AA around 2 for 20, and I'm bringing you guys the GBA Season 9 Week 1 trades and transactions. If you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like down below, and without further ado, let's just get right into it. First up, we got Leo, aka 6-Foot Hacks, coach of the Durham Dreagons, and he is dropping Mega Gallied for Mega Medicham. Leo didn't necessarily have much to say about this, but in my opinion, Mega Medicham fits better for his team. While you might say to yourself, having two very high tier fighting types might not make sense, you know, you could dedicate that spot to, let's say, something that Marshadow isn't, especially with it being a predominant mon on his roster. I personally feel like it actually makes a lot of sense. Between Marshadow and Darkrai, he actually has two very phenomenal ways to break through psychic types. And in my opinion, Mega Medicham just being able to blow through anything else really easily, this actually helps a lot better, because Mega Gallied, in my opinion, to do breaking nearly as well would of course need like a setup, whether that's through bulk up or SD. And of course, Mega Gallied has a ton of other things going for it, but I feel like in terms of just a sheer offensive perspective, having Mega Medicham here to just break through things without needing to set up is really nice on a roster where Leo has a ton of good setup mons such as Darkrai, Thundurus, Garchomp, Marshadow. All of these mons are very phenomenal in the setup department, and while of course you can always set up with Mega Medicham as well, you don't usually need to ever. You can run a very little amount of attack and still 2-hit KO pretty much anything, which is very nice, especially when you have two of the best allowed Psychic answers, which Psychic is by far the best way to handle Mega Medicham. So I think this will do really nice. Leo still does have a lot of fast options, of course. Thundurus was literally right next to Mega Gallied in speed tier. He still has Darkrai in terms of the really fast speed tier. He has priority through Comfey as well, so his speed isn't necessarily hurt by this at all. So I feel like that Mega Medicham will still be very nice. Gives him an actual base 100 because, as mentioned before, Comfey doesn't necessarily technically fit that role because his best offensive move would be like Draining Kiss, which gets +3 priority anyway. So I think this actually makes a lot of sense for Leo. On to the next one. We have Jolt of the token Minorities dropping Zekrom and Crocodile for Groudon and Goodra. So one of the first things that I actually noticed personally before I get into Jolt's reasonings for it was, for some reason, no one actually drafted Groudon. This is one of two mons that I personally was actually really surprised went by in the draft initially. So I'm really happy to actually have seen Jolt pick it up. Now, one of the reasons that Jolt did pick this up was he was really concerned because originally his two Uber's mons, being Magearna and Zekrom, were both ground weak. And ground being the phenomenal offensive typing he is, of course, let's say someone did pick up Groudon later on, it would actually be a nightmare for Jolt to have to prep against. Because while, of course, he does have things like Manaphy and Olo and Ninetales and Breloom, those mods don't necessarily want to take on Groudon because, for one, Groudon does still get coverage through Manaphy through things like Solar Beam and Thunder Punch, and Manaphy's water-type moves are going to be weakened through the Sun, of course. And Olo and Ninetales, I'm certain doesn't necessarily beat Groudon 1v1 if it has like an AV or something. And of course, Groudon, if they were both scented at the same time, would keep its Sun up, so Olo and Ninetales would have like 50% accurate Blizzards versus that. So Groudon does still, of course, give Jolt's team a lot of problems, so if you're weak to something, why not just pick it up? This also does help a lot with the fact having Goodra as well. It does provide a very nice special defense mon that can pair well with Groudon, as Groudon has a really nice physical defensive stat. And Jolt also mentions that he loves Groudon's diversity a lot more than Zekrom's, which is completely understandable. With such a pivotal mon on a roster, I feel like having a very diverse mon at that is very important. And Groudon has a lot of things going for it. It has a lot of setup potential. It has hazard support, of course, which is very nice, especially at that speed tier in the Uber's tier. I feel like it's really good. It can be very defensive. It can be very offensive. It can pretty much do anything if you put your mind to it. Groudon is essentially, as I've put it several times, the Lando T of this format, and I think that having that on Jolt's roster in combination with everything else he has will make for a very exciting season for the token Minorities Jolt. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does with it. I know Jolt is a phenomenal builder and a phenomenal battler, so I'm certain that he will truly showcase why Groudon is one of the best mons that was allowed, in my opinion. And finally, the team that has arguably the best mon on it, being Mega Lucario, we have Tom Z, coach of the San Jose Sharpedos. He's dropping Cofagrigus and Amoonguss for Whimsicott and Drapion. Now, as someone who actually helped Tom a lot with his draft, I do see very much so why Tom made these trades, and it made sense. The second that Tom brought these up, I knew that these were something that we should have probably looked into in general for the team. Now, Tom mentions in general that he loves the fast priority with Memento for Amoonguss, and he feels like the Drapion can actually be a switch into dark types. Alright, not to dark types, to ghost types, which is very understandable because, of course, with things such as Dawnwings, Lunala, Giratina that are all allowed, the ghost types that can be very offensive, and while you might say to yourself Giratina is a very bulky mon, it still does have in either form at least 100, if not higher, offenses. So Still a very terrifying ghost type to have to switch into. But in general, with all these very scary ghost types in the format, I feel like that having a dark type switch in, such as Drapion, is going to benefit Tom a lot, as he mentions himself. And he also felt like that Amoonguss was definitely like shoehorned into this draft, which is completely understandable. It's sort of just thrown on there just for more fat. Whereas Drapion is at least a naturally bulky mon and can still provide a lot for Tom's team, such as a actual ghost type switch in instead of just being fat to be fat. And I feel like that in general will help Tom a lot as well. He didn't necessarily need Kofag either for anything, and I feel like that what he gains from this transaction is far better to him. Not only this, but he still keeps the ground and poison, of course. He also still keeps the T-Spikes from Kofag, which is very nice for Tom as well. And in general, Whimsicott does provide a lot better initiative for his team as well. As mentioned before, he does give momentum. Whimsicott also does get U-turns, so it's more momentum instead of just mons that are going to have to hard swap. So this in general fits Tom's playstyle and his roster a lot better, and I'm hoping that he can put to full use these transactions throughout the season. So that is going to be it for the transactions for week 1 of the GBA Season 9. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below. Check out all of the links that are mentioned on screen and in the description below, along with all the coaches' links that are linked down there as well. It's been your boy AA Ron 2 for 20, and I'm signing out. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, peace out.